Bad Bunny just did the impossible, and Michael Jackson's legacy will never be the same. There are moments in history that stop people cold. Moments that make perfectly reasonable adults put down whatever they are doing, stare at their phone screens, and whisper to themselves, "Wait, what?" This is one of those moments. Because what just happened on Spotify's global top artist chart is not supposed to be possible. It defies logic. It challenges everything the music industry thought it knew about legacy, longevity, and the kind of immortality that only a handful of artists in human history have ever achieved. Bad Bunny, a man from Vega Baja, Puerto Rico, who used to pack grocery bags for a living while uploading music to SoundCloud, just bumped Michael Jackson from the #1 spot on Spotify's global top artist chart. Read that again, slowly. Let it settle. Michael Jackson, the king of pop, the man who invented the moonwalk, the artist who made Thriller, a song that still plays every single Halloween whether anyone asks for it or not. The legend whose music has outlived decades, generations, and entire eras of the music industry. That Michael Jackson has just been moved aside by a Puerto Rican reggaeton artist who sings entirely in Spanish. Something is happening here, and it is worth paying very close attention. Welcome to Pop Showroom, where we bring you the stories behind the headlines. If you're not subscribed yet, hit that button right now, because this story goes deeper than anything you've seen in the mainstream media. Bad Bunny did not appear out of nowhere. He built this, quietly, then loudly, then so loudly that the entire planet had no choice but to listen. He started uploading tracks from his phone, no label, no budget, no industry connections, just music and an internet connection and a sound that nobody else had. Somewhere between trap and reggaeton and something that did not have a name yet, Bad Bunny carved out a lane so specific to himself that copying it was basically impossible. Then the numbers started moving, slowly at first, then faster, then in a way that started making record executives sit up straight and ask questions they did not fully understand yet. By the early 2020s, Bad Bunny was not just a Latin artist crossing over into mainstream markets, he was the mainstream. He became the most streamed artist on Spotify globally, not in the Latin category, not in the Spanish language category, globally. Multiple years in a row. He was doing things on streaming platforms that artists who sing in English, who have Grammy campaigns and massive marketing budgets, could not touch. And now, this. Now, the chart. Now, the number that nobody ever expected to change. The Michael Jackson problem. Here is where it gets uncomfortable or fascinating, or both. Michael Jackson passed away in 2009. His catalog has been available on streaming platforms, generating billions of plays from fans who grew up with him and from new listeners discovering him for the first time. His presence on Spotify is not that of an active artist. It is that of a monument, a permanent fixture, the kind of artist whose position at the top of any chart felt less like a competition and more like a given. Nobody seriously expected anyone to move him, certainly not quickly. Certainly not in 2026, and absolutely certainly not someone who makes music primarily in Spanish. And yet, here we are. Bad Bunny did not just edge past Michael Jackson with a slim margin on a quiet Tuesday. He surged. He reclaimed the #1 spot after a wave of global streams that pushed him back to the top of a chart that the music world had quietly assumed was settled. The word reclaim is doing a lot of work in that sentence, because it implies this has happened before. It implies Bad Bunny has been here, stepped away briefly, and then come right back, which is exactly what happened, and that is what makes this suspicious. The part that should make everyone pay attention. Think about what it actually takes to outstream a dead legend. Michael Jackson's catalog is enormous. Billie Jean, Beat It, Smooth Criminal, Man in the Mirror, Black or White, decades of music that people return to constantly, that gets played at weddings and funerals and everything in between, that has been licensed and relicensed and covered and sampled and referenced so many times that it exists in the cultural atmosphere like oxygen. And Bad Bunny, with a catalog that stretches back less than a decade, recorded entirely in Spanish, in a genre that mainstream American radio spent years refusing to take seriously, is generating more streams. That is not just impressive. That is a statement about how the world has changed, about who is listening to music now, where they are, what language they speak, and what they want to hear. The global music audience is not what it was in 1984 when Thriller was selling out everywhere. It is bigger, it is younger, it is more connected, and a massive, massive portion of it speaks Spanish. Bad Bunny did not just make great music, he arrived at exactly the right moment in history, when streaming platforms gave every language an equal playing field, when Latin America and Spanish-speaking communities worldwide finally had a platform that reflected the numbers, and when one artist was bold enough, talented enough, and consistent enough to capture all of that energy and direct it at the charts. Pause right here, because if this kind of content, real cultural shifts, real moments where history changes in real time, then this channel needs to be on the subscription list immediately. Hit that subscribe button right now. Notifications on. New content drops regularly, and it is never boring. Subscribe now, then keep watching. Bad Bunny bumping Michael Jackson from the #1 spot is a headline, a big one, but the real story, the one hiding underneath the headline, is what this says about the music industry's long, embarrassing history of underestimating Spanish-language music. For years, Latin music was treated like a side room, a niche, something with its own separate charts, its own separate categories, its own polite little corner of the industry where it could be celebrated without being allowed to compete with the real mainstream. Bad Bunny walked through that wall, not by making music that sounded more acceptable to English-speaking markets, not by releasing an English album or chasing collaborations with American pop stars to boost his numbers. He did it entirely on his own terms, in his own language, with his own sound. And now he's standing at the top of the global chart, above Michael Jackson, in the middle of 2026, with an entire career still ahead of him. Whatever comes next, the honest answer is that nobody knows, and that's the most exciting part. Bad Bunny has already broken every rule that was supposed to govern how far a reggaeton artist from Puerto Rico could go. He has already done the thing that was not supposed to be possible. He has already stood in places, at the top of charts, at the center of global culture, on the stage at the Super Bowl halftime show that his younger self probably couldn't have imagined. And he has done all of it without ever pretending to be something he is not, without chasing approval, without translating himself for audiences who weren't ready yet. The world caught up to Bad Bunny, not the other way around. And now he's at the top of the chart, above Michael Jackson, in the middle of 2026, with an entire career still ahead of him. Whatever comes next, one thing is already certain. The music industry will never fully recover from the lesson that Bad Bunny just taught it, that greatness has no language, that culture cannot be contained, that when an artist is truly, genuinely connected to the people who love their music, no chart is out of reach, not even the one Michael Jackson has been sitting on. If this video kept the attention all the way to this point, then this channel is exactly where you belong. Subscribe right now. Hit the bell icon, turn on notifications, because stories like this one, moments where history moves in real time, where the impossible becomes the headline, drop here regularly. Subscribe, stay locked in. The next one is already coming.